Released by Punchline in 2006 on the PlayStation 2, Rule of Rose would be a third-person survival horror game. Directed by Shuji Ishikawa and written by Tomo Ikeda, the game would be inspired by the cruelty exposed to and by children in fairy tales by the Brothers Grimm and spark media controversy on its release. The story only gets larger from here, so let's cut it down to size with a recapitation. As the game begins, it's the year 1930, as on an overnight bus ride, 19-year-old Jennifer is given a strange storybook titled The Little Princess by a young boy right before he exits the bus and runs away. Jennifer steps off, calling out to him, when the bus suddenly drives off, abandoning her at the bus stop for the Rose Garden Orphanage. She flips through the story, wherein there once was a girl who was friends with the Princess of the Red Rose, but one day was left alone as her parents suddenly died and the princess disappeared. The girl was sent to a strange house where there was the Aristocrat Club that lived by the Rule of Rose, but she was still very alone. Making her way on the dark trail, she hears the whimpering of a dog that somehow seems familiar, entering a rickety old shed but only finding an old dog collar with the name Brown on it. Within is a slip of paper with a childish drawing of a fish and the terms boarding pass and red crayon aristocrats written on it. Jennifer spots the boy enter a huge old mansion which also seems oddly familiar, as through the gate she witnesses children with bags over their heads beating something in a sack with a stick. She is allowed in once she shows the pass she found, passing by a scribble of a stray dog said to kidnap kids and lure them away with candy. Jennifer sees fresh blood where the sack just was, following the red trail inside when the door is locked behind her with a giggle. Sightings of the boy lure her deeper within the mansion as she catches up to him in the attic, but is interrupted as there is an announcement of a funeral taking place right now, and he tells her it is for her dear friend. Going outside, she sees a fresh grave and has a sinking feeling of the boy telling the truth, digging it up and peering within to see the bloody sack. Just then, she is surrounded by 4 children with sacks on their head, mocking her and pouring water on her as there is a bizarre announcement declaring they will soon be taking flight. Jennifer slips into the grave as they close the casket on her, and after passing out, the next thing she knows she is tied up in a strange room. A little boy calling himself the Prince calls Jennifer out by name and demands that every month she is to find a gift to give as tribute to the Aristocrat Club or else she will be killed. As she is released, Jennifer finds more information on the Red Crayon Aristocrats members and hierarchy: Duchess Diana, Countess Eleanor, Baroness Meg, and poor Amanda. Jennifer sees she has been added as its lowest ranking member and a butterfly is demanded as the gift. Jennifer meets Hoffman, the strict teacher who pays no mind to the circumstances, and another girl named Clara who avoids Jennifer. Jennifer is shocked to look out a window and finds she is actually on an airship, learning it is Britain's largest airship ever made, on a flight to India hosting the mayor and the children from the orphanage. She soon spots a cruelly tied up dog as she notes livestock such as pigs, goats, and chickens are being transported as well. Jennifer meets Wendy, a polite girl with a cough who greets her while tending to a rabbit, and Martha the maid who seems disgusted by the new girl. Spotting a butterfly, her hand is nearly stabbed by a sharp dessert fork from a girl named Olivia, as later Jennifer is shocked to encounter a small disfigured imp of a child with no eyes that tries to grab her and is forced to stab it to death with the fork. Soon after, a man in a brown coat quietly hands her another storybook called The Cloverfield as she finds some rusty scissors and uses it to free the bound dog. Reading the story, it shares how there once was a girl who wished to be happy and so went to a clover field, wishing to find a 4-leaf clover, but the unlucky girl never found one. Jennifer remembers the dog collar she found before, saying the name Brown, and the Labrador Retriever cheerfully replies. Brown is grateful and chooses to follow and protect Jennifer, using his sense of smell to help her. She is soon startled by the scream of Martha as she is pulled up the stairs while being beaten with brooms by a group of the imp-like children who drag her away. Finding a small fruit knife, Jennifer spots a beautiful blue butterfly as it touches a light and dies, while the imps shove away the corpse of Martha and encroach upon Jennifer with their brooms. Mobs of imps now flood the hallway, chasing her until she tributes her butterfly and is then kicked into a dimly lit room. Jennifer is then face to face with most of the Aristocrat Club as Diana rejects her tribute and they have Amanda shove a rat on a stick over Jennifer's face. At first, Amanda is reluctant, but cheered on by the club, she enjoys torturing Jennifer until she faints. Waking up, she is met by the prince who says Jennifer has forgotten the many bad things she has done, and only when she remembers will this game end. Time passes as the next month, Jennifer finds a note from Amanda apologizing to her for what happened and asks to meet up, as Jennifer decides to take a steel pipe with her this time, passing by a room in which imps appear to be binding Hoffman. The unlucky girl sees Amanda sobbing to herself, apologizing again and insisting they are still friends, while Diana spies on. Amanda begins sewing something for Jennifer when both of them are called to the tribute box, as Jennifer sees the man in the brown coat again, speaking to someone named Joshua and saying he wrote a new story for him. Seeing it is related to a rabbit she now has to catch, Jennifer uses a kitchen knife she finds to kill imps chasing her that now wear rabbit masks. She sees the imps beat something to death in another sack, and an erratic Hoffman lurching towards her also trying to kill her. She is forced to kill the teacher in self-defense as the imps pull away his crumpled corpse and Jennifer picks up the slightly warm sack. However, it seems the rabbit is alive and fine as it is given to the Aristocrat Club, and as Jennifer enters the club room she somehow finds herself in a dark but strangely familiar forest. She spots the club and they call her closer, relaying a message from the Princess of Rose, absent but represented by a doll, wishing to reward Jennifer for her effort for finding and returning the rabbit. Jennifer is promoted to irritating, but Amanda is demoted to miserable and is now the lowest tier. They give her the rat staff now to rub in Amanda's face, and through peer pressure she complies, but seeing the rat is now dead and maggot infested, she faints herself. She has another dream of the prince, who directs her to read a news story called The Bird of Happiness that tells how one day a girl found a box with a bird of happiness inside. She hoped it would take her to Foreverland and found that in each box was a smaller and smaller box until she found a bloody box far too small for a bird to fit in. The bird was long dead, and the moral of the story is that everlasting happiness is a joke. As time passes, the next month she is tasked to find one such bird. The unlucky girl overhears Diana and Meg speak of a secret meeting place and notices them drop a bird feather, giving Brown the scent to follow them, soon finding a surreal trail of feathers, finding it leads to a bloody stain in the girl's bathroom. However, in the next stall, Diana and Meg speak in agreement over disliking one of the girls and giggle over some misdeed they did unto her. However, when she leaves, Jennifer is confronted by the pair who knew she was eavesdropping on them, teasing her bird will die soon if she doesn't find it. Unusual drinking bird imps now stalk the unlucky girl as she puts together clues just to find it was Eleanor's bird, now dead, and Jennifer framed for the incident. However, Eleanor is silent as she scoops up her bird and tributes it anyway, as Diana and Meg are a bit disappointed on how anticlimactic things turned out. All the same, Jennifer suddenly recalls a promise she made to an old friend, as in another dream of the prince, she reads another grim tale called The Goat Sisters. In this tale, a younger goat sister gave a letter to her older goat sister, who ate it up and also tore up her notes. Wishing to read the big sister the letter she wrote, the younger sister cut open her sister's stomach to retrieve it, but found she died, and so there was no one to read the letter to. The lesson is that even quote-unquote true love is quickly torn apart by conflict. The next month, the unlucky girl observes Meg searching for something lost as she finds a torn page where Meg declares her love for Diana. New goat-hooded imps lunge for Jennifer as she escapes and learns Diana rejected Meg's letter and tore up Meg's journal full of personal notes and torturous invention ideas. Diana tasks Jennifer to find the other half of a torn letter from Meg, and after she does so, stuffed on a dead goat, Diana and Eleanor bring in Meg, again framing Jennifer as the aggressor. In retaliation, the children stuff Jennifer into a smelly onion sack and drop all manner of insects in with her, harassing her until she faints again. Jennifer now has another dream with the prince, who leads her to the story of the Mermaid Princess, where once upon a time a mermaid fell in love with a human prince, but it was unrequited as she grew old and decrepit, dying alone. As her corpse was left to rot, the other mermaids made fun of her as she died still loving the prince, as the next month she is tasked to tribute a mermaid. She is shocked to see Hoffman alive and well, walking with Clara, soon finding a meat cleaver, a fish head, and a torn doll. Beating back a school of fish-headed imps, she sees Hoffman caressing Clara, and after leaving, Jennifer sees a monstrous version of Clara as topless and has been bound by a rope to resemble a mermaid, screaming and spewing bile as the unlucky girl is forced to chop her down. A mermaid doll, constructed of Hoffman's pet fish, falls in her place as Hoffman asks Diana what happened to his fish as he rubs his hands all over her body. Diana casts a scornful glare at Jennifer, blaming her for this turnout as Jennifer secures the tribute, once again reminded of a forgotten promise. Later, Jennifer has the same dream of the prince, only the prince is nowhere to be seen, and instead she is grabbed by the man in the brown coat and left outside in a strangely familiar rose garden, but Brown is nowhere to be found. She follows the man to his home, seeing the name Gregory Wilson on the mailbox, and catches him putting a gun to his temple and contemplating suicide. She finds several holes in the backyard, taking a shovel with her, and enters the house, finding a little boy's room left to decay with many toys depicting flight. She reads a newspaper covering a story of several children missing in a string of kidnappings, and finds an old photo of Gregory happy with his son. Passing the many empty liquor bottles, she finds Gregory in the basement, who pauses and leaves while calling Jennifer Joshua. In the room, the unlucky girl sees letters from Wendy addressed to Joshua, calling him a bear in distress and her prince, declaring her love for him and wishing to run away together. Jennifer then finds another newspaper saying how England's largest airship went off course during its maiden flight and went missing. Curiously, she also finds a boy's set of clothes laid out neatly on the bed that matches what the boy called Prince wears. Suddenly, Jennifer feels a sudden pain in her chest, picking up a stuffed bear with a green ribbon as Wendy appears in the window to help her out. She also thinks Jennifer is Joshua, saying to take Gregory's gun with them for his own good as they both escape together. Wendy gives the unlucky girl her rose brooch in exchange for the stuffed bear, naming it Joshua as well, and renewing her vow of love for Joshua to Jennifer. Jennifer now wakes up back on the ship, wearing the brooch as she sees the prince run away, and she sees her new task for the month is to urgently find the missing Joshua stuffed bear. The reward is promotion within the Aristocrats as Brown returns to her and Gregory leaves another story for Joshua. Titled The Rad Princess, one day there was a chubby girl who sewed rags whose stench seeped into her own clothes. While her stepsisters wore beautiful dresses and went to the ball, the jealous girl was visited by a fairy godmother who told her to sew an ash-gray dress and also go to the ball. However, her rags smelled so awful she was not allowed in the ball, but did befriend another girl in rags. Jennifer is then approached by Amanda, insisting Wendy has the stuffed bear, and later finds the gun with one bullet in the room reserved for the prince and princess. Jennifer later finds Wendy on the floor, saying Diana, Eleanor, and Meg accuse her of taking the bear, apologizing for not taking care of it. However, Diana hasn't found the bear, noting Amanda has gone missing too, and the missing bear's tail is in Amanda's sewing kit. Jennifer soon fends off imps in pig masks, climbing atop the airship to find herself climbing outside a strange cave where she spots Amanda bludgeoning something with a large stick. She turns to Jennifer, claiming she's not mad at her, and gives her the missing bear so she can be popular again, returning to gleefully beating an effigy she made of Jennifer. The unlucky girl faints, waking up back in the ship as she tributes the damaged bear, and Amanda tells Diana that Jennifer stole the bear. A message from the princess thanks Jennifer and gives her a red crayon of her own as the children applaud and leave, and imps rise up from the shadows. They surround and bind her with rope, tying her back up in the orphanage while drawing all over her in red and shoving several crayons into her mouth. She escapes thanks to Brown and sees Hoffman ordering the children to clean the mansion as she observes him writing about a room where the children are spreading about a killer named Stray Dog who kidnaps and eats children. He notes the rumors come from a recent public panic about several disappearances, but he has used these rumors to motivate the children into doing their chores. Finding an axe in the garden storage room, small notes harassing her are thrown at the unlucky girl as she walks the halls and everyone curiously refuses to acknowledge her. Even Clara turns her away, who is summoned into a small room with Hoffman, who personally oversees her cleaning. As night falls, Jennifer finds the tribute to be offered this month to the club is herself, as dozens of masked imps emerge and hundreds of letters wishing her dead line the walls. Seeing Wendy wave to her from outside, Jennifer manages to escape into the courtyard where Wendy is glad to meet Brown. Nearby is another storybook called The Funeral, in which one day a girl found a hole in the ground, and out from it came little people who said it was the day of her funeral, but if she didn't like it, then sacrifice her friend instead. Not wanting to be buried alive, the girl buried her best friend instead. The end. Looking up, Wendy, Brown, and all the imps have disappeared, hearing the dog's whimpers from inside the house. She now sees the tribute to the club is Brown, and quickly opening the door, she sees imps tie up and drag away a dead Brown. However, it's just a trick on her eyes, as the Aristocrat Club now enters, but this time the Princess of Rose is here, revealing herself to be Wendy. Amanda snickers and points to a bloody sack, saying they really did kill her best friend Brown, and Jennifer finally snaps. Forming a fistful of anger and sorrow, she stands up as her younger 9-year-old self, demanding her friend back and slapping Wendy down. Jennifer calls her out as a liar she will never forgive, pointing out how much she hates each of the members of the absurd club. Most of all, she hates herself for playing along for months and not having the strength to stand up to them. She rips off Wendy's rose brooch and throws it back at her, shocking the other girls as Wendy gets up and runs out of the room crying, defeated and humiliated. Time passes as Jennifer wakes up to a storm outside and a new story left for her titled Stray Dog and the Lying Princess. Once upon a time there was a little girl who lied and scared others by claiming Stray Dog was coming. After a few false scares, everyone tired of her lies, and one day when she tried to warn them that Stray Dog really was coming, no one believed her, and so Stray Dog killed and ate them all. Soon enough, Jennifer is called upon by the members of the club who all curtsy out of respect and apologize to her for what they have done. They say there is a new Aristocrat Club and Jennifer will be their new princess leader, as Wendy is spotted outside and they leave to go harass their former leader. However, Jennifer instead hears the screams of the girls being killed as the doors now open and it is Prince, with Gregory acting feral and submissive as it turns out Gregory is Stray Dog and is commanded to attack. On all fours, Stray Dog struggles with the hit detection of the game, as just then Brown enters alive and well to help out. Jennifer fights and runs outside as Prince tells Jennifer because she was so stubborn and would not love them is why they brought her here, taking off their wig to reveal it was Wendy all along, who dressed up as Joshua in order to manipulate Gregory. She adds she was jealous Jennifer forgot her and loved Brown more and so brought Stray Dog here. However, she sees that was a mistake, handing her the gun they took from Gregory to stop him, just as Stray Dog grabs her and kills her too. Stray Dog approaches the unlucky girl but stops and apologizes to Jennifer, again calling her Joshua, as Jennifer hands him back his gun and he uses it to shoot himself as Jennifer and Brown flee from the orphanage. Jennifer's memory returns to her, recalling when she was a little girl and finding another story of two girls called Once Upon a Time. She sees she once lived in the Rose Garden orphanage, but before that learns she was actually once saved by Gregory from the airship crash that killed her parents. In his grief, he called her Joshua after his dead son and dressed him up as such with the same haircut and clothes. She could not leave his home until Wendy found her and they exchanged letters, though Wendy became more and more obsessed with Jennifer. One day she helped rescue Jennifer, swearing loyalty to her and brought her to the orphanage. In gratitude for being rescued, Jennifer swore an oath of loyalty in return, called the Rule of Rose, but was still isolated and alone in the house. Jennifer recalls more of the girls that lived with her then, like how Amanda used to sew rags, Meg was foolishly devoted to Diana wanted to be a grown-up, and Eleanor had a toy bird she adored. As children, they were warned how imps would sweep them away if they did not do their chores, but the unlucky girl knew it was the weakness in her heart that drew them to her and gave them form. One day, Jennifer found and befriended Brown, finding him a real friend, which made Wendy jealous. Jennifer states per her promise she would always love Wendy, as a friend, and Wendy did not feel the same way, taking it poorly. Wendy reminded Jennifer of her loyalty oath and declared she would regret choosing a dog over her. Jennifer then finds a letter from Martha to the police suspecting Gregory was the wanted kidnapper and reporting him after seeing him and Wendy, where Wendy would train him like a bizarre dog. However, the police did not believe her, and Wendy would indeed get her revenge, killing Brown and burying him in the courtyard. Jennifer also recalls how Hoffman actually left the orphanage, leaving it in the hands of Clara, who also later left as did Martha, abandoning all the children to their grim fate. As the game ends, Jennifer walks away from the memory of Wendy and the orphanage, closing the gate behind her, and finds the shed she raised Brown in as a puppy. She declares from then on to never lose her dear friend again, writing out the Rule of Rose loyalty oath again, and closing the door on her suppressed past. We now see a true 19-year-old Jennifer wake up on a park bench from the nightmare of her childhood tragedies, still haunted by the reminders of her past. Rule of Rose has enjoyed the success of selling over 20,000 copies worldwide.